Today's video is the first video in a month-long series of fan art celebration and my collaboration partner and I want to feature your fan art. Use the hashtag MarchFandomMayhem over on Instagram or Twitter so we can see your art. Hello and welcome back to Jenna Gets Creative. As I just mentioned, this is a collaboration with Weblight Dreams, and we'll be doing this every Thursday in March. Today, we're drawing fan art from anime titles that we haven't drawn in a very long time, but we need suggestions for topics for the rest of this series. Leave your suggestions in the comments down below, either here or on Weblight Dreams' video. We'll be deciding which suggestion we're going with for the next week over the weekend, but don't worry if you're here late or your suggestion doesn't get picked. We'll refer back to suggestions on previous videos if we need to later on. I am linking Weblight Dreams in the end screen, in the description box, and in the pinned comment. If you're not familiar with her channel, or if you haven't watched her video from today yet, definitely go check her out after this one. Also, a reminder, before I start talking about my piece, I'm getting close to qualifying for the YouTube Partner Program, and I want to celebrate that by hosting an international giveaway of some art supplies and a small custom artwork. That giveaway will officially be announced once I qualify, and it will be open to all my channel subscribers who are age 14 plus and living in a country that can accept a package mailed from Canada. So my piece I'm doing today, the anime I haven't tried to draw in eons, is the original 5 Sailor Scouts from Sailor Moon. This was my introduction to the world of anime back in the early 90s. I remember going to play or even sleep over at my friend Natalie's house back when we were in like grade 2 or so, and playing in her dollhouse, but instead of Barbies, she had a bunch of Sailor Moon dolls. I remember catching the TV show as often as I could, and memorizing the theme song. I remember playing make-believe with my sister and our neighborhood friends Danielle and Jamie, and not being allowed to actually do the transformation bit when we were playing at their house because their parents were super religious and they thought that there was something wrong with saying moon, prism, power. Actually, funny thing about that, I ran into Danielle and her mom once when we were in our 20s, and when I asked if she remembered that, her mom was like, "Oh, is that what that was about? Yeah, that really wasn't a problem, was it?" I designed the line art for this piece in Photoshop using my new Huion screen tablet, and it was a lot of fun, but man, did it take a long time. I believe I already mentioned last week that you'll be seeing another piece of line art I drew digitally in my upcoming collab with Draw Art Lab. I know you're probably wondering when you're going to get a digital art video, and the answer is soon. But I don't know exactly how soon. I need more practice so it doesn't take quite so long. I've also got a couple things I still need to solve or adjust with my tablet setup. Feel free to give suggestions or advice down below if you're more familiar. I'm using a Huion Canvas Pro in Photoshop on a Windows 10 computer with the native Windows pen support turned off because that was messing with the tablet's parallax. The two problems I'm still having that I'd like to solve are the color display settings and a fun little error that seems to happen whenever I've got the stylus tilted too much when I make contact with the screen. For the color display issue, I have played around with the tablet settings, but I absolutely cannot make the tablet and the laptop's colors match. The tablet is a lot warmer toned, which I do like, but it means the odd time I've tried to carry on and practice rendering my artwork, I still have to select all the colors on the laptop screen, so I'm not getting shades that are greener than I think they are. So far I haven't been able to correct this without making the tablet's display far too blue. As for the error with the tilted stylus, if I've got the stylus at a significant tilt when I make contact with the screen, instead of drawing or erasing where I'm trying to work, it shoots off a line or erases a line from the contact point off to the right all the way to the edge of the canvas. This happens often enough it's adding a lot of time to my workflow, and sometimes I don't always notice the eraser did it until, 10 or 20 actions later, and then I have to decide if it's easier to revert or redraw what I got erased. Not so much fun. But I am determined to figure it out, and I'd love to do some digital videos once I'm more set and practiced. Getting back to the piece, as I mentioned, these are the original 5 Sailor Scouts based on the first couple of seasons of the anime that aired in North America in the English dubbed versions. I didn't know for quite a few years later that some of the characters' names were actually changed, and I wish they hadn't. I guess in the 90s they didn't think North American audiences could handle Japanese names. They certainly also didn't think we could handle non-heterosexual representation. If you didn't realize that, yes, the North American dubs actually changed lesbian and gay couples into cousins or swapped one of the partner's genders on multiple occasions. So if you got a lover vibe from a pair of lady baddies at some point, you were onto something. The main character, Sailor Moon, leader of the Sailor Scouts, is known as Serena in the English dubs. Her Japanese name is Usagi Tsukino, which literally translated means rabbit moon. One of her aliases is Serenity, which is probably how the English dub name of Serena came from. I think most girls who were the right age to make-believe play as the Sailor Scouts back then liked Sailor Moon because she's the title character and all that, but I also don't think she's many people's favorite. If you're a fan of Sailor Moon, let me know which Sailor Scout and which villain are your favorites. So Sailor Moon is in the middle here, in case you couldn't tell. On the far left in the front is Sailor Mercury, and she's one of my 2 favorites. Her name is Amy Mizuno, Amy spelled A-M-I, and the English dub did call her Amy. I think every English-speaking fan who wasn't aware of the Japanese names probably assumed it was Amy spelled the standard anglicized way, though, A-M-Y. Amy really appealed to me because she's portrayed as the level-headed smart girl a lot, and I was also just a huge fan of her hair. On the far right in the front is my other favorite, Sailor Jupiter. Her Japanese name is Mikoto Kino, which is a rather masculine name, though of course I know her as Lita from the English dub. Fun fact though, her English name hasn't been consistent. In some early dubs her name was Sarah or Maggie. She's a bit of a hot mess sometimes, but she's also fiercely loyal to her friends and probably the strongest of the Sailor Scouts in every sense of the word. Between Sailor Moon and Sailor Jupiter is my second least favorite of the original 5, Sailor Mars. This is Rei Hino, the daughter of a politician with daddy issues who always struck me as quite the whiny brat. And of course that leaves Sailor Venus in between Sailor Mars and Sailor Moon. Minako Aino, or Mina in the English dubs, actually awakened as Sailor V before she became Sailor Venus. She's my least favorite of the original 5, and I honestly think that's mostly because she seemed to me like an extra Sailor Moon, and I was never sure if she was going to be revealed to be like evil or something. In all honesty, in her regular girl form, she's less annoying than Sailor Moon, despite being known as a prankster. And she really seemed so much more deserving of the Sailor Scouts leader / Princess Serenity role, and for some reason that just made me really distrust her. As for villains, Kunzite was my favorite. In the English dubs, his name was Malachite, and honestly, I think that name was part of what drew me to him. Since he was named after a mineral, I have absolutely no idea why they would need to change it in the English dub to begin with, but I love the name Malachite. Oh, and remember how earlier on I mentioned that the English dub changed homosexuality references in the show? Well, his lover Zoisite is a man. The artwork wasn't modified. He is a very effeminate man in the original anime with his luxurious ponytail and his high voice, but he's a man. In the English dub, Zoisite is a woman. I also really loved the Cardians, Al and Anne. In the English dub, they're Alan and Anne. I just really loved their alien forms and how they're always posing with ornate cards pinched between two fingers like they don't know how to hold a playing card. Don't forget to check out Weblight Dreams video if you haven't already, and if you have, here's another video suggestion for you on the left of the screen. Don't forget to suggest some other fandoms for us to draw for next week, and if you'd like us to feature your fan art of any sort, use the hashtag MarchFandomMayhem, all one word, so we can find it. Bye guys!